You've got some nerve to challenge me. I'll show you the difference between you and me since you are such an idiot.
Please, stop it. The next thing I knew, my mother-in-law Kate was laughing and cutting up my clothes, which were important to me. After that, my favorite clothes were thrown away on the floor. It was a gift my late mother had given to me. Oh my God! My name is Kim, and I am a 30-year-old housewife. I met my husband Nick through my friends from university years. We met when my friends and I were having a few drinks, and one of my friends invited him over. He then asked me out on several dates, and we began to go out. We got married and lived happily together as a married couple. 2 years after we got married, our son, Tim, was born, and he is now 4 years old. I thought I would be able to live peacefully while watching my son grow up. But then, an unexpected event made my life a living hell. That event was moving in with my in-laws. One day, we were suddenly forced to move in with my in-laws. But as I recall, originally, my brother-in-law and his wife moved in a few years ago at my parents-in-law's house. Then, to my surprise, I learned that my brother-in-law and his wife had already divorced a few years ago. And my brother-in-law is currently living on his own. Nick also had no idea about that either. And as for my brother-in-law and my parents-in-law, they didn't mention it because we didn't ask any information about that. I thought that a family member should notify such an important news. But since we only saw them at New Year's, they might have planned to tell us when we came to see them then. I didn't have any bad impression about Kate, who was my mother-in-law. Whenever I visited my parents-in-law, even though Kate wasn't too friendly, she didn't nag to me about anything in particular, and she had a pretty straightforward personality. For me, I find it more annoying if she nagged about things in particular, so I was very grateful for the distance she kept with me. Plus, my parents-in-law loved my son, so I didn't think it would be a problem for us to live with them. When I agreed to his idea, Nick was happy and immediately contacted his parents. And in no time at all, we started living together at my parents-in-law's place. My father-in-law, Jim, is still working and has not retired yet. And Kate has always been a housewife. I became a full-time housewife when Tim was born. And since it had only been a few years, I had hoped that Kate would teach me many things, including her recipes. But even without having such thoughts, I was forced to do housework, even when there were times I didn't want to. The first day of living together was just a normal day. Both my parents-in-law welcomed us with smiles. And that day, we had a feast to celebrate for new beginnings. But the next day, Kate's attitude suddenly changed.
How long are you gonna be sleeping?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's still 5:30 in the morning, and my head hurts because I was given so much alcohol to drink last night. As a wife, you have to get up before anyone else in the family. Around what time should I get up?
Well, I basically get up around this time, so you should try to get up at 5 a.m. at least.
5 a.m.?
What? Do you have something to say to me for being a housewife?
No. It's not a good idea to make our relationship worse from day one of living together. Besides, getting up early is good for your health, so I should get used to it anyways.
Well then, please start making lunchboxes for Jim and Nick.
Yes, I understand. And just as I began to cook normally,
What are you doing?
ow! Kate had slapped my hand, which was holding the knife, very hard.
You're doing it completely wrong.
What am I doing wrong?
Don't think that you'll be told everything. Think on your own.
Oh, okay. I rubbed my hands, which were turning red, as I watched Kate's knife work. But I couldn't really see how her knife work was different from mine. To be honest, I think I cut more cleanly and quickly than she did. Even after that, Kate's bullying didn't stop. She should get furious with me about things that didn't matter, such as how poorly I cleaned the house, how badly the food was seasoned, how crooked my back was, or how she didn't like the pattern on my socks. Kate's anger was like a magma, never knowing when it would erupt abruptly. So, I was pretty traumatized, and it was normal for me to spend my days worrying all the time, trying not to offend Kate or get in her way. It was so hard for me that I consulted my husband about it, but my husband missed my point by saying, "Mom thinks it's for your own good, so be more grateful to her." No matter what I said further, he wouldn't listen to me, assuming that I was just complaining. Somewhere along the way, I began to live each day by killing my emotion, thinking that if I only put up with myself, everything would be all right. If I did that, this house would run in peace. All I had to do was to be patient. 3 years had passed since I realized that I was living like that. As usual, Kate's bullying towards me continued, but since I had been apologizing to her all the time, I was never always subjected to her excessive bullying. One day, however, something horrible and unexpected happened. It happened with my son, Tim, was in the living room with Kate and I. Tim wanted to watch a cartoon that was on, and had asked Kate if he could change the channel. However, Kate refused because she was watching her show. After a moment, Tim replied, "Okay," with a frown on his face. But Kate did not miss that moment. "Hey, Tim, what was the face you just made now?" "Huh?" "You frowned, didn't you? I am the second highest position in this house, after my husband Jim. You are the second to last position in this house. You are in the weakest position with your mother. So how dare you show your frowning face to me?" Then Tim starts to cry at Kate's sudden anger. "You are a man, but you're pathetic for crying to buy forgiveness. I will beat the rotten mind of yours back into shape." With saying this, Kate tried to slap Tim. "Stop! Please stop!" I had to push Kate down. "Don't you dare lay your hand on Tim!" Kate was startled for a moment, but soon her face turned red and she glared by saying, "Do you realize what you've done?" She then got up and walked away. Then she came back into the living room holding my clothes and a scissor. I had a bad feeling about this. Kate? You've got some nerve to challenge me. I'll show you the difference between you and me, since you are such an idiot." "Please, stop it!" The next thing I knew, Kate was laughing and cutting up my clothes, which were important to me. After that, my favorite clothes were thrown away on the floor. It was a gift my late mother had given to me. Oh my God! I picked up my favorite clothes in tears. Tim calls out, "Mom!" and gives me a hug while crying to me. I can't be in this place anymore. I finally woke up and decided to pack up my things and take Tim with me to get out of there. Until now, Kate had forced me to do housework every day, and I was not allowed to leave the house without her permission. But I no longer care about that anymore. Seeing my chance, I loaded my belongings into the car, told Kate that I was going shopping to the supermarket with Tim, and drove to my parents' house. My dad Sean, my brother Jeremy, and his wife Gwen lives together. My mom passed away about 10 years ago due to illness, and the clothes that were cut up by Kate were my favorite clothes that my mom had bought me as a gift when I found a job. My mom passed away a month after she gave me the clothes as a gift. So you can imagine how important these clothes are to me. And I can say that they are my favorite memories of my mom. My dad, Jeremy, and Gwen were all immensely upset when they saw the destroyed clothes and heard about all the bullying I had received from Kate. Jeremy told me, "You've endured so much and worked so hard. So, leave the rest to me." Dad also spoke kindly to me and told me that I could take the bath first. It had been years since I had taken a bath first. After the bath, Jeremy and Gwen served dinner to Tim and I. It had been years since I had eaten a home-cooked meal prepared by someone other than myself. I couldn't stop crying. I came to my senses and decided that I would never go back to that house and that I would divorce Nick. As I was finishing dinner, sure enough, Nick called me. "Hey, where are you?" "I'm back at my parents' place." "I won't go back to your parents' place anymore. I also want divorce." "Huh? Divorce? How can you say such a stupid thing?" "You have no idea how badly I have been treated by Kate. I can't take it anymore." "Come on, don't be selfish. Now get back here immediately." Not only did Kate try to slap Tom, but she also cut up my favorite clothes. "What? And you still take Kate's side?" Then Kate seemed to have taken the phone away from Nick, and I heard a tremendous angry voice coming from the phone. "Stop spouting off all kinds of nonsense to Nick and get your ass back here now. I will never allow a divorce or allow for you to ever leave this house. You are my slave for life." "No way. I can no longer live with someone who destroys my favorite clothes." Huh, that was a masterpiece. The look of despair on your face when I was cutting up your favorite clothes. It was priceless. Were they memories of your mother? You were so unworthy, which is why I was able to cut your favorite clothes into pieces. I understood. Very well. Thank you for your confession. Huh? Who are you? I'm Kim's brother. Brother? This has nothing to do with you as an outsider. I'm not an outsider. I'm her family. Kim is my precious sister. I recorded the whole thing. What you just said. Huh? I'll sue you for destruction of property after their divorce is complete. Wait a minute. I will also report about this to Nick's company and Jim's company. What? No, please, don't do that. Then proceed immediately with the divorce between Kim and Nick. Of course, Tim will be taken by Kim, and all the child support will be covered by Nick. No way.
If you don't agree to these conditions, I will spread the word to your neighbors that you try to abuse my nephew. Okay, I understand. So please don't do that. Then please tell Nick to come over to this place and have the divorce papers signed.
And in no time, Jeremy had Nick promise to divorce me. And few days later, I waited for Nick at the cafe, and Jeremy also accompanied me. My husband awkwardly came in alone and signed the divorce papers.
Well then, we'll file these papers. You won't report this to my company, right? I won't report you or Jim's company.
Nick looked relieved as he left the cafe. With this, Nick and I had divorced smoothly. Nick also paid me child support at once.
Well, let's begin our real plan then.
After this, I filed a lawsuit against Kate for destruction of property and demanded alimony as instructed by Jeremy. And I reported these events to Nick and Jim's company. As a result, both Nick and Jim's career are affected because they are now known as bystanders who only silently watch Kate's unbelievable behavior and doing nothing about it from their co-workers. Nick contacted me saying,
"That's not what you promised."
But I responded to him, "My brother said he wouldn't report it, but I never said that I wouldn't report it." This was my brother's plan all along. My brother decided that the only way to deal with unreasonable people was to be unreasonable, and to thoroughly have Nick and his parents suffer the consequences. Of course, we reported all of Kate's unbelievable behavior to their whole neighbor. As a result, Kate is no longer spoken to by anyone and nobody wants to get involved with her. Whenever Kate walked outside, people in the community spread the word about her to the extent that mothers with their children would move to hide and protect their children. As a result, Kate became completely depressed and withdrawn and doesn't go outside at all. It's a really nice feeling to get back at them. Meanwhile, I have fully returned to my parents' place, began working a new job, and I'm also working hard as a single mother. Back at home, Jeremy and Gwen and my retired father would take care of Tim and support him. Tim is definitely enjoying his life surrounded by his kind aunt and uncle. I really can't thank Jeremy enough for his full support. Next time I have some money saved up, I would like to take my whole family on a trip. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.